Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're returning to Emerson, Lake and Palmer in 1977 in Montreal. So we looked at Pirates from this show last time. There is, of course, an orchestra with them on this tour, and I have a little bit from Greg Lake's autobiography that discusses this tour regarding the Works album. The final side showed that we could still work together as a band through both Pirates and our arrangement of Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. I had kept playing Copland's original when we were working in the studio, and Keith and Carl agreed to work on it. The three of us had barely played together in recent times. Yeah, this was after their long layoff after touring the world, in the wake of brain salad surgery. The three of us had barely played together. We were in the studio in Montreux in 1976, and Keith was playing his initial arrangement on his new synthesizer, a Yamaha GX1. When I started to add this shuffle bass line, and Carl joined in on the drums, the sound was quite rhythm and blues. The engineer, John Timperley, was recording that first run-through, thank goodness, because that's what is on the record. Caught on a single microphone and a 2-track tape machine, plus a bit of overdubbing. Well, that's pretty interesting. An edited version of the song became our most successful single ever, reaching number 2 in the UK in July 77.
Well, when you're talking about prog rock, especially, this style of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Keith Emerson has done some classical compositions, like on Brain Salad Surgery, he had that toccata, which was part of a piano concerto by Alberto Ginastera. That's the famous Creature double feature.
It says here, like Alberto Ginastera, when it came to toccata, Copland was willing to go on record praising the piece. And from Greg, we've got the interaction between Keith Emerson and Leonard Bernstein. Leonard came over to the studio. Apparently, Leonard Bernstein was invited over by Alex Grob, who owned Mountain Studios. After exchanging greetings, he came and sat down beside me at the recording desk. "So you've got something to play me then?" he asked. I said, "Yes, it's called Pirates. I hope you like it." When it finished, everyone stood silent, waiting for his words. He slowly turned to me in his chair and said, "Singer's not bad," not knowing that was the singer, Greg Lake, Still, it was one of the best compliments I've ever been paid. Bernstein made no further comment on the orchestration or the music, so I asked him if he'd listened to Keith's Piano Concerto No. 1. Sure. Played the entire piece through. Again, there was the anxious silence at the end. Bernstein looked thoughtful and then pronounced, "It reminds me of Grandma Moses." Grandma Moses was a renowned American amateur folk artist whose naive painting suddenly caught the public's imagination when she was in her late 70s. Kind of a compliment. maybe kind of a couched compliment there, I think, but that's cool. It's true. The classical world is quite different from the rock world. I can see where he might have made a comment like that, and where it wasn't even meant to be anything but, complimentary. But anyway, so with that, why don't we go ahead and check out this song live in Montreal. Interesting.
Yeah. They boogied a lot more than other stuff by ELP.
Yeah, I was noticing that. It almost turned into almost a blues jam in some parts, really, you know. You know, on the jamming on the root for a while and then turning into a blues, you know, every once in a while.
It was because usually when I hear something by ELP, it does sound kind of like classically influenced.
Right,
it might not be quite classical music, but I mean, there's definitely some influence there going on.
I agree. And I was thinking just that as we went along, because it certainly did start with Fanfare for the Common Man, and then it, you know, before too long, it kind of branched off into its own thing, mostly a Keith Emerson showcase.
Yeah. Also, I bet you $10 that there's no Hammond organ in that song.
There was no Hammond organ. He seemed to have one large conjoined keyboard with 3 levels.
Yeah.
They all seemed like synthesizers, but the top one sounded like a Moog, and it looked like it had a shorter board too, like a Moog would.
They had polyphonic keyboards back then, right? And polyphonic synthesizer keyboards, I should say.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't have a lot of polyphony. So yeah, it is cool watching them do their thing at this point in time, especially knowing what the technology is at this point, you know, so pretty fascinating. I want to thank Francisco again for another great suggestion of ELP. We keep getting a little bit deeper in with this band. And I mean, besides the music, it's just really interesting to see what they're using and what they're doing. And audiences love it. All right, folks, so why don't you let us know what you thought of this? And if you have any other suggestions for us, please leave those below. If you saw ELP, let us know about that too. That would be really interesting to know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one. All right, take care, folks.
See you all later.